This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com.
Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. It is 6/26/23, and this is show number 505. So what is going on with this coup, Nick?
I really don't know, Kerry. This is dominating the headlines all weekend. We hear one story, then we hear another. Somehow, some way, some mercenary troops, 25,000 of them, were going to take over Moscow. Then all of a sudden, this guy's in exile in Belarus. It sounds like something out of a Tom Clancy novel. I just can't figure it out. I have no idea. But I will say this. It has put a little bit of a bid underneath the energy market today. So that's naturally to be expected. But all the energy stocks are doing pretty well. And we'll see how that plays out by the end of the session. That'll tell us more. But as for this coup, I mean, this has got to be the shortest-lived coup I've ever seen. I don't know what to make out of it. Maybe it's just wag the dog. I don't know.
Imagine if you threw a coup and nobody came.
Well, that seems to be what happened here, right? So, I just, we've separated ourselves from the mainstream media for a long time now. We can never really believe what they tell us. All we could do is try to read between the headlines and try to figure things out. But this is one that just has me baffled.
Same here, and I guess maybe one day we'll be able to deconstruct it. I look at our view as our job as looking at the news and trying to deconstruct it, looking at the markets, deconstructing them, and trying to get to the bottom of what's really happening. But I think this is a case where we just need to sit back and wait. But I'll tell you one thing, if I was Lloyd's of London, I wouldn't be writing a policy on Petrosian there, because I think his days are numbered if he's not dead already.
Well, I just find it ironic, though, that he's gone into exile in Belarus, and we all know that's just an extension of the Russian government. So, who knows if this stuff is even true? It's just so baffling, so wacky. The guy Petrosian was talking really tough. We watched a few videos of his, and then all of a sudden, a few hours later, he's in exile. I mean, it's just,
and he's gone.
You can't make it up. So,
and he's gone. Yeah, really, it's a circus. Definitely a circus.
It really is. It's bread and circuses are what they feed us these days. So, this is just more of the same, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I'm on a low carbohydrate diet, Nick. That's all I can say. But so final trading week before a major July 4th holiday. So that usually means lighter volume. But we've seen these blowups take place during these holiday trading sessions. And this is arguably the biggest holiday of the year, certainly the biggest summer holiday. What are the odds of something blowing up here, Nick?
I would say the odds are pretty fair. Normally, I usually will go away around these holidays because that's really the only time that traders get a break. And these days, I bring a computer system with me because you just don't know. And we've seen it now quite a bit during the holidays where we've had these big sell-offs, we've had these big geopolitical events take place, and I would not take this one for granted. I think that everybody, with all the geopolitical events going on, everybody should be on guard a little bit, especially, look at this story that just popped out over the weekend, right? So it's just a little lesson for us to not take anything for granted. This time around, I believe the 4th of July holiday falls on a Tuesday. So, that's basically, traders are going to be away from Friday all the way probably to late next week, if not even into next weekend. So, be prepared. Don't take anything for granted in this environment.
All right. No, it's not on our agenda, but I want to talk about Natgas. It's currently spot 276. That's up from 230 something a couple of weeks ago. You were in it, I know, for a while. Where are you
I,
at? Not
I'm
gas.
still I'm still in it. I'm still in it, and I'm holding. Like I said, I think the bottom is in for nat gas. It's going to be a choppy trade, but like I explained on the program, probably over a month ago, I said that this is a monthly chart pattern. This pattern takes time to play out, but I'm looking for a lot more upside on nat gas. I'm not looking to get out of it anytime soon.
All right. So after it crashed, the lower high was like 301 back in March. Is that a key point here?
Yeah, that is. You're right. It was March 3rd, and we got to 302. And if we exceed that level anytime soon with volume, that's going to cause a short squeeze. You'll see a big run up to $6.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the chart, man. I'm just going back 1 year to July, and it's just so negative, so messy there. It's a
But that's
chart.
this is how bottoms are formed. So if you go back, Kerry, and look at the 2020 low for nat gas, I believe it was $1.43, and that happened in the month of June. Now, nat gas historically bottoms out around the first quarter of the year. Historically, not every single time, but just historically speaking. And if you look at the low that we had in nat gas now, it bottomed out right in April. So the low came in right on schedule, and now we're starting to see the move higher. And again, geopolitical events, will only add to the move up in nat gas. But this is where, this is still a buy right here, even though it's had a pretty good run up this month. I'm in the camp that a major low is in place. So going back to what I was saying, in the 2020 low, that was a major bottom. Then you had the $10 spike, which everybody loved it up there in August of 2022. And now nobody likes it down here at $2, which is a higher low than the 2020 low. So that tells me we had a leg one up, a leg two down, and leg three is just beginning to the upside.
I like it a lot. And I always say that nat gas is the best. Forget about watching the weather or the weather channel or looking at your phone. Just watch the price of nat gas. That tells you what the weather is going to be at least a month or two out.
It has that characteristic, especially in the colder months. But what a lot of people don't realize is that you have to start getting nat gas into the refineries now if you're going to make all the products that you want to prepare for the winter season. So, people don't realize that. I think there's over 3,000 products that are made from natural gas.
Fertilizer. Fertilizer.
Yeah, that's right. So it's
a feedstock. Yeah.
It's incredible what you need nat gas for. I know New York City's banned nat gas stoves in new apartment buildings, but we still need nat gas, and it's a very efficient fuel and a very good fuel for the environment too, which is, we won't hear that from the greenies.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start buying up stoves, used gas stoves. I'm going to put them in a warehouse in New York, and once the ban goes in, then I'll sell them on Craigslist.
You'll remind me of the guy in the Seinfeld episode that was selling the shower heads. Yeah. Did very well from what I understand.
Hey, the first thing I do when I have a new faucet installed is I have them rip out that regulator so I could get decent water pressure.
Yes. The water pressure is key, especially for the hair. And, the water pressure is very important.
Yeah, so the whole thing's ridiculous. Hey, so gold, so nat gas is a buy and you're in it. So, and
I am in it and in the money too. So,
what it can go up to here, Nick?
I think we're going to see, $5.50, $6 once we cross that $3 threshold. So, you cross that, that's where the squeeze comes in. And once the squeeze begins, Kerry, I mean, we've seen squeezes go way higher than I've ever even predicted. So, I'm conservative on my levels, as you know. But you cross that 302, 303 level, you do it with some kind of volume, this thing starts to break out. You'll see $5, $6 fast, ultimately $8, $9 again. And I think nat gas will ultimately go to new highs in the next couple of years.
Okay. Best way for an individual to play nat gas? Do you buy options on the ETF and you go out there a year or 6 months?
No. What do you do? Yeah, just buy the ETF. Just buy the UNG. Yeah, just buy the UNG. This way you don't even have a time constraint on you. As long as it's going in the right direction, you won't really, be affected by too much downside. If it goes in the wrong direction, all the ETFs can go lower than the actual commodity. So just be aware of that risk. But I say just buy the UNG straight up, and that's the way to do it. If you don't have the capital to do that and you want to buy call options, give yourself a year out and do it that way. That would be fine as well. Just don't go too far away as far as the strike price is concerned. Stick around the $4, $5, $6 level. Well, I would say on Natgas, you probably could go. If you're using UNG, you could go higher. But I'm just saying, look for something around that range in Natgas. But you could go $12, $13 in the UNG. I think this thing could be a double once it crosses the $3 marker.
Easy. Yeah, and then you sell off part of your position, take the profit there, and let the rest ride, huh?
That's how I do it, Kerry. I always take half off the table after I have a decent gain in the books. I play with the house's money and I let the second half run. I just did it with wheat, in fact. I was in wheat, the WEAT. I bought this thing at the ETF, WEAT. I bought it at 591 and I got out of it at 688. Right now it's at 725. I'm waiting for a pullback and I'm going to buy it again. But, these are the same kind of setups. That was a monthly chart setup that just reversed and, made a rocket ship move. And Natgas is getting set to do the same thing.
All right. So gold is up a tiny bit today, and so is silver. Silver's up over 1%.
Yeah, silver's having a very good move today, up about 1.6% at the moment. That's really making a nice stand. But silver's been hit very, very hard recently. So this is a technical bounce, it looks like, from my opinion, on silver, because you hit the 200-day moving average last Thursday and Friday, and that's being defended today. But I still think silver will break eventually and go lower. But that will lead us to the second coming buying opportunity. As for gold today, it's catching a little bit of a bid, but it's not very strong. Gold right now up about 0.2%. It broke on Friday below that key level, Kerry, that I talked about, 1940. Right now, it's even trading at 1933. So the trend now has turned down in gold. You want to be careful with the gold trades here on the long side. I wouldn't short it with all the geopolitical events. Gold has a reputation of making some key reversals when nobody expects it. So even though I don't see that right now, I would be cautious with gold.
Okay. Finally, Bitcoin pulling back a little today, really went higher. I mean, I buy Bitcoin every week, and then when it hits a certain point, I sell it all, and then I start doing it again. And that strategy's been making money for me. Not a huge amount, a couple thousand here and there. Virtually every 2-3 months, I accumulate and sell.
Yeah, right now I'm going to give Bitcoin an upside bias, believe it or not, for the time being. I know today it's pulling back ever so slightly on Bitcoin futures. Bitcoin itself is basically flat on the session, but you had big momentum last week, and when you get a move like that, if this just goes sideways for a little bit, you'll see this go into the 32,500 area, 32,700. Then I think, it's time to say, hey, the highs are in. But, when you get these patterns like this and they have those breakout moves, they usually have some staying power, can go a little higher than most people think.
Hey, I've been buying it low and then accumulating it as it goes up and then dumping it. And, hey, if it goes down 2/3, I'm not going to be a real happy camper. But 4, maybe 5 of the last trades I did, made money.
Well, when the strategy works, you stay with it until it fails you. That's the old rule. You just stay with it until it fails you. Because what if you do it 10 times and you have one failure? Just try not to make that failure be a big one. And that's the key to this business, is that you're never going to win on all of the trades, but if you have something that's working, you try to continually win on those trades, and you mitigate and limit your risk, and that's the key to this whole business.
And that's even with Coinbase's exorbitant fees. I'm still ahead on it. So you can't beat that. So you think could it hit 33,000, huh?
Yeah, I do. I think Bitcoin right now, Bitcoin futures, I'm using that chart just so the listeners know. Bitcoin futures chart probably gets up to 32,500, 32,700, right there. I don't think it's going to go much past that. But that is the way the math is set up for this move.
All right. And could be this week or next, huh?
Sure. It'll happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, it moves. Well, it's just moves on emotion, pure emotion, right?
That's
Really.
all it is. But there's usually something causing that. So somewhere, below the surface, there's usually something we don't ever find out about it real time. We always hear about it down the road, and that's why I have to use charts, Kerry, because I'm just not smart enough to figure that stuff out.
Yeah, same here. All right. Well, that's it for today. We will be back on Wednesday. Make sure you go to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, see his extensive trading record, how he's been beating the averages for decades, the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Emails welcome, KL@kerrylutz.com. Write your YouTube comments below. And Nick, we will pick up on Wednesday.
Sounds good, Kerry.